Have you ever gone to a Broadway show knowing absolutely nothing about it? Today, I'm going to talk to you about going blind to shows. What does it mean going blind to a Broadway show? It's not blindfolded, but it means that you know absolutely nothing about it. All you know is the title, maybe the actors that are playing, maybe one liner on what the plot is about or the theme of the show, and that's it. You read no reviews, you heard none of the songs, and you are coming to be surprised and enjoy live theater at its most purest way ever. I'm going to review in this video some of the shows that I did the blind test on, and I'll tell you if it was a good blind test or not a good blind test. And I'm telling you, I think the last one is gonna surprise you. Let's start. I'm laughing because this show, I've had a very interesting experience. Here Lies Love. I went to this because I won it in the Broadway roulette. I don't think they're still active, but if they are, this is a very interesting experience. Basically, I bought tickets to a show. I did not know which show, and they only told me the day of. I knew about Here Lies Love, I just knew it existed. I did not know anything else about the show. I think one of the actors I knew that was playing here, and that's everything that I got before I went. I actually saw the show one performance before they closed. My first reaction to this show is when I walked in, it was very interactive with the audience, and that had a very nice effect. I always like shows that have that interaction. And I don't know if you've seen the show or you've been to the version that was in Broadway, but they basically took all of the center stage they cleared all the chairs out and people were standing next to the stage. That was really cool to see. I did not get standing tickets, I got sitting tickets. It was at the Broadway theater, so it was very far away. I got the suckiest seats in the theater. Now it might have influenced how I felt about this, but I don't think it was 100% that, because I've enjoyed a lot of shows sitting in the back, so it's not just that. After like the first few minutes of the DJ and everything, the show started, and I was confused. I just did not get the plot of the show. I did not get the songs. I just didn't relate at all. It was a history musical, and I was just not that interested. I don't know, I feel like it's really bad because it was like a Filipino and it's like really important history of people from there, but I just couldn't relate. And I have to say, I also felt it on Hamilton. I didn't relate to it in a personal matter because it's not my history, and it really depends on how they convey that history. So in Hamilton, it's done in a much more interesting way because you can have that effect even if you don't relate to the story. And here, I just didn't feel the songs. I can't even tell you what style they were. It was just like all a blur. It's really interesting because I did love what they did with the audience in that show. As I said, they have a lot of interaction, but it wasn't only the people that were standing. They also made us stand up and dance in the middle, and they had a lot of these moments that they could interact with all of the audience. They also had screens that you could see the actors, and they conveyed that, which I love when theater uses modern technology in order to really have that immersive experience, but it just didn't hit. It just didn't stick with me. So for me, going to this blind was a mistake. I do know a lot of people enjoy this show. They had a great experience. I think most of them were in the standing seats, kind of. So maybe that meant that they were more intrigued and more in the story because it always moved them. Maybe that's one of the reasons, and maybe it should be in a smaller stage that everybody are interactive and it's like closer to them. I think it's great that we have shows like these that have, you know, different history pieces on different countries and exploring the subject with other people from around the world. But for me, I just didn't relate to it, and that's okay. I don't have to relate to all shows. So this was my first blind one. Okay, the second show that I went blind without knowing anything was Shucked. Shucked played in the Nederlander. I love that theater. It's the Newsies Theater. It's my favorite theater on Broadway just because of my personal connection. Not because it's a good one, because the seats sucked here. All I knew about this was the actors. I knew it had corn in it in some capacity, and that's it. I didn't know anything. I went to see the show only because of Gray Henson. I love him. I saw him in Mean Girls. He is great, and I want to see everything that he does. So that is why I went to see this show. From the first 10 minutes of the show, I knew that this was something fun, something that had lots of energy. The set design was really cool. And the thing that stood out most to me about the show was its dad jokes. This show has the most amazing book ever. It is so funny. I don't think I've ever laughed that much from jokes that were said, not in the songs. They were literally said and talked. And I loved it. It was so good. That kept me always on guard to hear the next joke and laugh from it. It was hilarious. The songs were cute. I don't think any of them really stood out for me. They were just like generic songs. But the plot was really interesting. It was really fun. They kept it going. It talks about a girl from a corn town. The corn is dead, and I hope I'm saying this right. And they needed somebody to come and help and revive the corn so they can survive. It was a very secluded town. And then she goes out and meets a guy who said he can help, but he's basically trying to scam them. It's like a lot of those things. I felt like the story was really cute. It was narrated by two people. Gray Henson was one of them. And they were always on stage, and it was always them conveying it, like talking and singing. And the dances were great. The scenery was great. The ensemble was great. All the main actors were great. This show was really awesome. I really enjoyed it. And I felt like it was a great show to come when you know nothing, because the style was just like a generic Broadway style. The jokes really kept you in. And the story was just really cute. It was really fun. It wasn't exaggerating. I felt like it was exactly in the middle between being too much than being too normal. They did have some plot that was what the hell, but it was also something that you can really relate to, you know, family relations, friends, and love, and things like that. This was a really good one for a blind test. It had all of the things that you need in a Broadway show, and it kept me up on my seat, and I loved it. I have not listened to the soundtrack since then. Maybe I should. It was a nice one. I can check it out again. Yeah. Oh my God. So my next show that I want to talk to you about surprised me. You can say that. I went to see this show because, first of all, I won the lottery, and it was a show that was just like so hyped. Yes, I did hear some hype, but I didn't hear reviews on it. I just heard, oh my God, this is the last Sondheim. You should go see it. So this is Here We Are. I am not a huge Sondheim fan. I'm sorry for everybody there who are unsubscribing me right now just because I said that. No, I really appreciate his work. I enjoy watching it and hearing it, but it's not my favorites. You know, it's not my style. Here We Are, I just went to see it because everybody kind of said, you must. The lottery for it was really hard to win, and I actually won. So I was like, I have to go. It was amazing seats straight in the middle in like $30, something like that. Like it's an opportunity that you just can't miss. I basically knew nothing about it. I did know that it has this amazing cast. I mean, look at this cast, like seriously, great people in the cast. And I saw some of them before. So the show started. I think I left the show more confused than I was when I entered the show. If you don't know the show, it's based on two movies, and the two acts are not really related to one another, and each one of them is written based on different material. It was so weird. I didn't understand at all what was happening. What was the plot? They were like parents and a teenager, and then they were traveling around. They were going to a restaurant and then to a hotel. It was so weird. I didn't understand the plot until today. I can't really explain the plot to you. So I was very confused, and I have to say I was even kind of sad that I did not go to another show instead, but never mind. But what did work was the songs, actually. I enjoyed the songs. Even if I didn't know what they were talking about, I enjoyed them. They had a great vibe. You know, it's Sondheim vibe. It was great. The first part. The second part was just so weird. They were in the same set. I don't think there were a lot of songs in the second part. It was just kind of torture. Really, really torture. And this is one of these shows that it's Sondheim's last work, and I was really expecting this huge thing, but even Sondheim had some flops, and that's okay. Merrily was a flop when it first started on Broadway. So that's fine. I did not enjoy this. Blind test was bad. I maybe should have, I don't know, understood more or read more before in order to understand the plot or what's going on. So this is not a show to go totally blind. You should read about it. You should know the story and then go and enjoy it. At least the actors were really great and I enjoyed their performance, but oh my God, this was a tough show to watch. A tough one. Okay, my next one. I think this is like a repeating motive that you will see, that I'm going to shows a lot of times not knowing anything because I know one or two of the actors and I want to see them. This is Gutenberg. I watched this because of this power couple. They are amazing. Josh Gad and Andrew Reynolds. And I knew that this was a two-man show. I knew that there's usually a guest that is like a producer, and I knew that they were doing something musical about somebody who's written the typewriter or something, and that's it. Look, it is very hard to keep an audience entertained with only two actors. It's so hard, especially for a show that is above an hour, and I'm sorry, but I just did not relate to the plot. Oh my God. I thought, for me, it was kind of boring. The jokes, I just didn't laugh at them. They weren't that funny for me. I did love the things with the hats, but after a while, you just get sick of it, and then it's just not as interesting. And that happened like throughout the whole show, so the thing with the hats just lost its appeal. The songs were okay-ish. I don't remember one song out of it. I do remember that I did not enjoy Josh Gad that much because of his singing. He's not the biggest singer. He's a great actor. He's a great comedian. But to hear him sing so much, especially next to Andrew Reynolds, it just didn't click for me, and I got really bored in this show. I actually left for the restroom in the middle. I don't do that. I never do that. But here I was like, I'm not even gonna try. This was not a good blind test. This was something that I should have, I don't know, heard a few songs just so there will be a few songs in the middle that I was more connected to and knew so I can enjoy it a bit more. Sometimes when you go to a show and you don't know any of the songs, but the plot holds itself, then that's okay. But if the plot is not as strong, knowing some of the songs might help you just stay interested, because then you'll hear a song and you're like, oh, I know that song. Oh, that's fun. Yeah, that did not happen. Yeah, not a good blind test. No, don't go. Check it out. Read, hear the songs before you go see it, no matter who plays in it. So the next one, oh, I have a giveaway, Broadway bridges. Yeah, sorry, I had a flyer inside. I love the flyers and actually have confetti. This is how much I enjoyed this show. This is Spamalot. I only knew the actors. I knew this was packed with some good actors. I knew 2 songs in the show, and that's it. I didn't know anything else. God, this was a good show. The songs are so good that you don't need to know them before. You don't need to know the plot. The book is so good. It's one of the funniest shows I've ever seen. Straight from the beginning, they had this amazing cast that made jokes and made you laugh at every second. I knew that I've entered a good one and that I'm going to enjoy myself in the next 2.5 hours. The story about King Arthur and the knights, and it just scatters around from that. It's not really based on that. It's just like kind of loosely based on it. They need to find the goblet and do a mission and something like that. But there's so many different characters, and even the same actors, they play different characters throughout the show. It was just so funny. I wish I can see it again with that cast. Oh, they blew my mind. I still, to this day, one of the funniest scene that Taran Killam, so one of the acts that Taran Killam he was basically spitting and doing like booze, like doing for, oh my God, I think it was like 10 minutes of him just doing that in different ways. You know, it's like those moments that at the first 30 seconds you're laughing, and then the next 30 seconds you're like, I kind of got the joke. And then on the second minute, you're like, oh, he's still going. Third minute, you're like, this is like getting crazy. And then the 5th minute, you're like, I can't stop laughing. This is so funny. And it's the shallowest humor ever. But it was just good. I feel like this is a show that is even good for a blind test for all ages, because they are really based on the most shallow humor, but not sexist or not adult humor. It's just the basic humor of you being a child and laughing from stupid things. People fall off the stage or things like that. And it was just funny. The plot was still interested in the characters, and the songs were really good and really funny, and they're joking on themselves. And this is just like a parody kind of. It was just such a good show. This definitely passed the blind test. It was an amazing one to watch. So if you get this near you, go see it. You don't need to hear anything, learn anything. This is the show for you. My next show that I went without knowing anything was Some Like It Hot. You might say, hey, Jordan, why didn't you know anything about the show? Well, I didn't. I only knew that Christian Burl was in it, and I love watching him, so I wanted to go see it for him. In the first 10 minutes, I really felt the style. I felt like the plot was really good, and the songs were cute. I think the plot of this show is fantastic. You can come without knowing anything, and it's interesting, it's fun. The songs were really nice. I don't remember anything that was that, like, grabbing me. Only one song that apparently I knew from Smash. I did not know from Marilyn Monroe. And I did not know this show was about her, or like a show that she played, and I didn't know the connection to her. So I discovered it on the show, which was fun. It was really great. It was nice. It was a nice one. The best thing that I remember about this is a sequence that they did with doors, which I felt was one of the most creative and most complicated kind of dance sequence. I loved it. That blew my mind. But aside from that, this show was really nice. Is it okay to go blind testing it? Yes, it is fine. Is it the best show? No. But you can definitely go without knowing anything, and you will enjoy it. In this production, the actors were fabulous. I just heard that J. Harrison Ghee has landed a new role on Broadway, which is really exciting, and I want to see him more because he's a good one. He's a good one, guys. Okay, guys. My next show that I went really without knowing nothing about it was Merrily Roll Along. Of course, the only reason I went to see it is, well, 4 reasons. Technically 3. Stephen Sondheim, Daniel Radcliffe, Jonathan Groff. Lindsay Mendez would be on this list, but I saw a matinee and she was not on it. So it's only 3 reasons that I went to see the show. I feel like this show, the first setting of it, is so important. I think I did know about how they did the sequence. I did know that it goes backwards. I think that's the only thing that I knew about it. And that it's about 3 friends, which you can basically see. 3 friends. And I knew one song, which was apparently one of the last songs. But yeah, I didn't know anything that's going on. I didn't know how the plot was gonna go, and it was very interesting. I think the show itself, I loved how they did it backwards. I loved the sequence. I loved how they showed it. I did have some criticism on the show. I will not tell you a lot about it because it will be spoilers, and I don't want to ruin it because the movie just came out. So you should see it. But I did think that it was a really interesting one, and the songs were really good. I love how in Sondheim, some of the songs have like this repetitive motive, but especially in this show, it was very, very repetitive. And then you always felt like in the loop and knowing what's going on. Yeah, this is a good one to blind test. I'm so glad that I came and knew nothing, because exploring it with the actors that you like, I feel like it's so much more rewarding than knowing everything and then just see them perform it. So for me, this was a good blind test, especially with those cuties. And talking about Daniel Radcliffe, another blind test that I did with him was how to succeed in business without really trying. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it, but this was my 2nd Broadway show ever. It's so interesting. I only went to see it because Daniel Radcliffe. I was 18 at the time, so, you know, Harry Potter. And I was really interested to see how he is on theater because I only knew him from movies. I did not know anything about the show. I was not even that into theater when I saw it. It was a long time ago, but I just remember when I entered and the whole scenery was so many colors and was so bright and so fun. The songs were like really great and putting you into it. The opening number was great, really connecting you to the story. And then the whole plot was so good. I just really enjoyed it. It had great style, great songs, and great stories. And the acting was superb. Daniel Radcliffe really, really surprised me. I was happy to see that he is such a fantastic actor, even singing. I know he doesn't have like the best singing voice, but it's his, and it felt really genuine, and he did a great job. This show is a classic. It's an old one. Well, it felt old in a good way. It felt like 60s vibes, and it felt like this was really, really clear. You don't need to know anything, and you can just come and enjoy it. I still to this day hear some of the songs and really connect to them and really have fun watching the Tony performance and everything about the show. I do hope that they revive it because I loved it. This is a good blind test. You should go like without knowing anything, because this one just catches you and captivates you straight from the beginning. If you don't have a production of it, and we'll probably take time until we see any production of this one again, just go hear the songs. I think this is one that you should just explore now. Oh, Daniel Radcliffe. And the last show that I want to discuss with you that I did the blind test on, people are gonna hate what I thought about it, but it's Hadestown. I only knew like 1 song from it, and I knew that it was hyped and it won the Tony and you should go see it. So I went to see it. I did not understand half of the plot. It was so confusing to me, and I don't know if it's me, because English is not my first language, but it was just, I'm sorry, I just did not connect to it at all. I'm so sorry. I just didn't understand the plot. I thought it was really confusing. I thought that the songs were just meshing all up together. I didn't really feel that much difference between the songs of one character. I felt like they were singing the same thing just again and again. I know that the main character is singing something again and again, but it just felt too much. So it caught my attention too much, and then it was just like really hard to understand why the characters are doing what they're doing, what the hell is going on. It was a mesh of mythical and legends, and I was just like, I don't care. And when you get to a point that you don't care about the characters and you don't care about the songs, that's really bad. Look, I know that Hadestown is a good one. It brought a lot of new things, new set design and thought and stories. The songs were very different, and it's just like really not a traditional Broadway musical. I just felt it was really confusing, and it is not something that you should do a blind test on. So no, this is not a blind test good representation. Don't do it. I really want to go see it again. I want to hear all the songs in front and then go see it. I feel like it's going to be much more clear. This is not a show to blind test. Don't do it. Read about it. Hear all the songs. Learn the song, and then go. Because it did some good things, but just not as a blind test. These are some of the shows that I blind tested. I don't always do that. Sometimes I listen to the songs beforehand or even know a lot about the plot, especially when it's revivals. But sometimes I just like to come and be surprised, and sometimes I'm surprised in a good way and sometimes not, as you've seen. Do you have any shows that you've blind tested that you came and knew absolutely nothing about and were surprised from them? Please share with me in the comments. Like and subscribe if you like my content. Thank you so much for joining me. If you want to hear more of the blind test that I did on some of the shows, I'd be happy to do a part 2 for this video. I have tons of shows that I blind tested because I am sometimes too lazy to explore, and sometimes I just like to come and be surprised. I feel like that's one of the best ways. So yeah, hope you enjoyed it. See you next time. Bye.